billion for union pensions. They promise too much, deliver too little, and the taxpayers pick up the tab.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
So let's take a look at some reactions. We didn't really get like media reactions to the UAW strike, but we got some political reactions to the strike, and we got some internet show reactions to the strike.
And if you're curious, like for some more media criticism, I would say Citations Needed and Counterspin both talked about this a little bit over the past week or so. And so, yeah, I would check those out if you're interested in more on that.
Yep. So let's start with Tim Scott. Tim Scott, so on the range of reactions to the strike, I think the worst has been Tim Scott, and I think the best has been like a Bernie Sanders. And so the worst you're going to see, and then Bernie Sanders at the best, not only saying, I support the UAW in their fight for a fair contract. Not only just saying that generally, but like saying specifically their demands that the union is pushing for, he supports. Like, that's kind of the best thing that you can do. That's the top level. Like, not only do I support in general abstractly, but they're asking for this, and that, and they deserve it, and they should get it. Right?
And I'm going to try to tell other people why they deserve it and encourage them to join us as well. And I'm going to show up and he had an op-ed in Fox, which, I think that's important to try to reach folks. And so, I appreciate that. And, that's the kind of leadership that, I would love to see more elected officials take on, these kind of issues when workers are standing together, fighting for what's right and standing up for themselves.
Yeah. So here is Tim Scott's first reaction. This was actually happened before last show, and we didn't have time to talk about it. But then he said something else stupid this week, so we're just going to play both of them. Here's his first reaction to the UAW's demands, in particular, their demand for a 4-day work week.
One of my buddies, prayer partner of mine, spent his entire career without a college degree working at Nucor Steel. And their pay structure took him over 6 figures. Several years.
Are you hearing that?
Because he got paid for his work. The harder he worked, not only did he get luckier, but he got more money.
Are you hearing this?
And that's a recipe. It's a formula that we should be using all across the country, not just in South Carolina, but all across the nation. And we're watching today on every screen around the country. We're seeing the UAW fight for more benefits and less hours working, more pay and fewer days on the job. It's a disconnect from work, and we have to find a way to encourage and inspire people to go back to work. And that's one of the things that, as your president, we would have. We would have a nationwide, sea to shining sea focus on, you pick the type of work, but if you're able-bodied, you're going to work.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Gross.
Not a fan. Y'all let me know in the comments if you actually heard that or not. Because,
looks like people heard that. I didn't hear that. I don't know why I didn't hear that, but looks like people heard that. And it's just so gross. I've got a prayer buddy. You have golly gee. That means that people should be poor because you have a prayer buddy. I mean, just so gross. And, this is the exact same thing that people said when, workers were pushing for the 12-hour workday, for the 10-hour workday, for the 8-hour workday, for the 5-day work week.
There's always these people talking about why we deserve less.
And it is just untenable when you understand that productivity has completely has gone through the roof while our hours at work have increased.
Right.
There's just no reason for that.
I thought they wanted to make America great again.
Yeah.
And there was a time in this country when productivity and wages more or less tracked with each other.
Yeah.
Now, there were, not to say that there weren't other issues in this country, but I mean, good Lord, obviously there were. But it's not like, some far off utopian idea that productivity and wage gains would match. It's realistic. It's something that happened in this country. But folks like him think that it's okay. It's okay that we have inequality skyrocketing.
Yeah. Lenny Powers in the comments says Tim Scott got soft palms. I can tell. I wouldn't doubt that. And that's another thing that makes it so frustrating to me, seeing people like this, politicians. I mean, could you imagine a worse person to talk about the importance of a good work ethic than a politician? I mean, holy crap. And this also, Sean Hannity echoed that the other day on the news when he was talking to Tim Scott. He was trying to get Tim Scott to kind of come off it a little bit. He was like, but what he was trying to do was try to say like, oh, look, this is all Biden's fault. You should support the workers because they're fighting against Biden, which is obviously, like we said earlier, it's just this kind of a silly thing. But Sean Hannity also lambasted the call for more freedom. That's what a call for a shorter work week is. It is a call for more freedom from work. More freedom to do what you will. More freedom from the tyranny of the workplace. Okay? More freedom, more liberty. That's what that is. He lambasted that. And in his lambasting of it, he said that I work 90 hours a week. Sean Hannity does. So, of course, obviously, first of all, that's bullshit. Like, there's absolutely no shot Sean Hannity clocks 90 hours in a week. No shot.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
But then, even the hours that he does work, that he would be like on the clock, are just simply not work to the rest of us people with actual jobs.
But
things that he does, like, I would bet so much money that he counts as part of his job going on golf trips and fraternizing with Fox News advertisers and politicians and all this kind of stuff, because he's making connections and all of this kind of networking and all that kind of stuff. And so he's probably got like his lunches on the clock, his dinner's on the clock, his golf trips are on the clock. When he's listening to other dumbasses on the radio, he's on the clock. Right. I mean, all this kind of stuff. That's what he's counting is on the clock. And I would honestly, I don't believe that even if you count all of that, he hits 90 hours in a week. But, with the work, yeah.
I'll just say this. He's paid to be full of shit, and he probably is full of shit at least 90 hours a week. So, in that sense, maybe there's some truth to it.
Yeah, so gross. And so here is what, so that was kind of his opening salvo in his war against workers asking for more of the profits that they're creating, Tim Scott. Here's what he said last week.
I think Ronald Reagan gave us a great example when federal employees decided they were going to strike. He said, you strike, you're fired. Simple concept to me. To the extent that we could use that once again, absolutely. The second thing I would do, though, is very important. This is probably not a well-known fact. The first thing, part of the challenge that we have today with President Biden is, and I don't mean this to be disingenuous, I mean this to be sincere. I'm not sure if the words are bought and paid for, but it's certainly he has been leased by the unions. And I say that because the first bill he passed, y'all remember the $1.9 trillion COVID relief package? Yeah. That only had 1% for COVID vaccines? Mm-hmm. It had $86 billion, I believe, for union pensions. Oh. Because they keep making these deals, and as a result of the deal, they promise too much, deliver too little, and the taxpayers pick up the tab.
Just super gross. So, I mean, one at a time, the first thing that he said is that Ronald Reagan set a good example when he fired the air traffic controllers and basically declared open season on working people in the United States. If you'll remember, if you look at like any chart, any chart that tracks anything good in this country, it all went down starting in 1980 or starting in 1970 something. Escalating in 1980, including wages, hours worked, amount of money going to the 1%, all of this stuff. It all just goes to hell starting in 1980, and in large part because of Ronald Reagan's declaring open season on working people. And in his saying that Ronald Reagan fired the air traffic controllers, that's a good example. Quote, "If you strike, you're fired." Sounds simple to me, something like that, he said. And so in that, the UAW filed an unfair labor practice against Tim Scott in his position as an employer for Tim Scott for America, saying that that his comments, "if you strike, you're fired," could be construed as a threat against his own private sector employees who have a federal right to strike enshrined in the National Labor Relations Act. And so
that's true.
Yeah, so that was incredibly cool.
I'm glad they did that because they should. If nothing else, just to help educate folks on the fact that you have rights. Are they well-protected rights? No. Are they sufficient rights? No.
Right.
But you have some rights, and it's important that we know them and exercise them and support each other in doing so.
Absolutely. And then his claim that that Biden has been leased by the unions. Oh, were it so, that would be incredibly base. And he's done a lot of good things for unions, but he could always do more. And the idea that a Republican is talking about somebody being bought is just so funny to me. Do you know who his top two donors are? Adam?
I don't. I mean, let's see. It could be Big Pharma. It could be the fossil fuel industry. It could be Wall Street. Let's think of some of the other evil forces in the world.
Yeah.
Who else?
The number one donor to Tim Scott over like the last 5 years or something was Apollo Global Management.
Oh, wow.
Which is private equity vultures. The second was Goldman Sachs. So, look, there's the difference, right? Even if you don't agree with every single thing that a union advocates for politically, I don't agree with every single thing that a union advocates for politically. But here's would you rather your politician be bought or leased by unions, which are definitionally organizations of working people, or Goldman Sachs and Apollo Financial Global Management Group, like two of the most evil organizations in the world? I mean, the choice is super obvious, and Biden's Butch Lewis Act, which saved union pension funds, is incredibly good, incredibly based, saving the pensions of thousands of union members whose employers' mismanagement of the pension funds made them go bankrupt or made them not be able to pay out as much as they were promised. It's very good, actually. And we should pay for that with taxes on the rich. And there you go.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.